Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this Aashadhi Ekadashi Wari special explainer. We often spend so much time reading these massive, heavy historical texts, but sometimes just a couple of lines from a tiny devotional song can actually tell us so much more. Today, we're going to break down a beautifully rhythmic, totally viral devotional lyric that's been making the rounds. We're going to unpack the hidden meanings, the vivid imagery, and the core message of devotion packed into these few words. So let's get started and look at this journey from a whole new perspective.
First up, let's look at the actual source lyrics that we're basing our whole analysis on today. Just feel the rhythm and energy here. The lyrics go, July Muktai wore a green sari, Vithoba plays on the first day, Fugdi, Mumbai Vithoba. I mean, what incredible energy, right? It literally makes you want to tap your feet just hearing it. Today, we're doing a micro to macro deconstruction of this short but incredibly meaningful composition. We're going from the exact word choices right up to the massive cultural themes. Because you see, these lines aren't just a song, they are a living tradition unfolding right in front of us. Let's move on and see exactly how this unfolds. So, the very first image that gets stamped in our minds from this lyric is the Hervi Lugadi, the green sari. The words Jalai Muktai wore a green sari aren't just telling us what she's wearing. They literally paint this vibrant, living picture in our heads. Green is the ultimate symbol of nature, of fresh energy, and of prosperity. When we picture Saint Muktai draped in this green sari, we're instantly hit with this beautiful visual aesthetic that blends absolute simplicity with deep devotion. Because of these specific sensory words, we aren't just listening to a song anymore, we're seeing it. It brings that colorful, lively atmosphere of the Wari tradition right into our space.
And this brilliantly illustrates how this composition brings the human and the divine onto the exact same level. On one side, you have Saint Muktai, and on the other, you have the deity Vithoba himself. Now, Muktai is the devotee, the saint, the human form, right? While Vithoba is the supreme deity. But in these lines, the distance between them completely vanishes. There's no separation between God and devotee here. They're together, sharing the same space, the exact same joy. It makes this amazing point that in the highest state of devotion, God isn't just sitting up on some distant cloud. He's right there, mingling with the devotees on their level.
Okay, right here is where the song really picks up speed. Vithoba plays Fugdi. Now, if you aren't familiar, Fugdi is this spinning folk game where you hold hands and spin around really, really fast. It's all about speed, enthusiasm, and pure energy. Now, just think about this for a second. Vithoba, considered the savior of the whole world, is playing a simple, playful folk game? Why on earth is the divine depicted doing that? Well, it's because this isn't showing God in a serious, intimidating way. It's showing his playful, joyful side. Just like a person forgets all their stress and just spins to the rhythm during Fugdi, that's exactly what divine joy is like. This playfulness makes Vithoba feel so relatable.
Now, let's talk about the timeline, because there's a really crucial detail here. On the first day. The lyric specifically says Vithoba plays on the first day. This is super important to anchor. Any massive festival, like the Wari, kicks off with this massive burst of enthusiasm. That phrase, the first day, perfectly captures that initial surge of incredible energy, that anticipation, and that fresh excitement. It's telling us that taking that very first step on the path of devotion isn't some heavy burden. It's light. It's joyful, much like spinning in a game of Fugdi. So it's not just a timestamp, it's capturing the exact spiritual state of that moment.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the totally unexpected reference right at the end of the snippet, Mumbai Vithoba. Usually, when we think of the Wari and Vithoba, we immediately picture Pandharpur, the Chandrabhaga River, and rural Maharashtra. But suddenly, out of nowhere, Mumbai gets a shout-out. So what does this actually mean? It shows us that devotion and Vithoba himself literally have no geographical boundaries. He's not just the god of Pandharpur, he's the god of the bustling, fast-paced city of Mumbai too. Even in modern urban life, amidst all that crazy traffic and crowds, devotion is just as alive. This blending of ancient tradition with modern urbanization is honestly just so fascinating.
So let's pull it all together. What are the big takeaways from these few short lines? First, the visual presentation. The words green sari instantly paint a vivid, colorful picture of Muktai in our minds. Second, divine playfulness. Seeing Vithoba playing Fugdi shows us the pure, unadulterated joy in devotion and presents God as a true friend. And third, the timeline.
on the first day perfectly captures the raw, electric energy of a tradition just kicking off. When you put these three specific components together, they encapsulate the visual beauty and the incredibly playful spirit of the entire tradition.
All right, we've reached the end of our explainer today. But before you go, I want to leave you with one big question derived straight from the text. If Vithoba is playing Fugdi on the very first day, does that mean devotion isn't actually about strict rules or fear, but rather about experiencing pure, innocent, childlike joy? Is devotion less about sitting quietly with your eyes closed and more about joyfully dancing and spinning with the divine? Definitely think about that. I really hope you enjoyed this breakdown and that it gave you a totally fresh perspective. We'll see you next time.